Hi, this is Iris, and today's project will be to refinish this bathtub. This is a bathtub that was built with the house 17 years ago, and fortunately it doesn't have any chips or cracks, but you can see just from daily use, it just looks worn. Even though this is clean, it just always has a dingy look to it. And all the caulking around it over the years has either gotten dirty or has dried out and looks cracked, so it's time to replace it all. So I'm going to try this Rustoleum Tub and Tile Refinishing Kit. I happen to get it in the color almond, but it does come in 3 different colors. You can choose white, almond, or biscuit. And one kit is supposed to be enough to cover 110 square feet or about 2 coats on a standard bathtub. Now, in my case, I'm only doing the bathtub. I'm not doing tub and tile, so one kit should be sufficient. So I happened to pick up my kit from Amazon for about $27. And inside the box, you'll find one small can of your activator, plus another larger can that will contain your base. Other than that, though, there are no other instructions inside the box. The only other instructions that you will find will be printed on the outside of the box. But obviously, there are a few more things that you're going to need besides just this. So let's take a look. So we're going to start with some good cleaning agents, preferably those with some bleach in it, to really clean out the entire tub area and prep our surface. Then this painting tape will be needed as we outline the outside of the tub and along the floorboard or along the bottom tile. I also find that these heavy-duty scouring pads do a nice job as we clean out the tub. And at some point we're going to need some sandpaper. We're going to be looking for a 400 grit sandpaper that's meant for wet or dry use. And since it's a larger surface area, I find that these sandy blocks come in very handy to make your job a little bit easier. Also, especially as we rinse the tub, a nice large sponge will come in very handy, as well as a tack cloth or two to remove any remaining dust and debris in your tub to create a nice smooth surface. In the paint department, you can get these stirring sticks that'll come in handy to stir up your epoxy. And what I don't show here is also an exacto or a box cutter knife will be needed at some point. For the epoxy itself, a small paint tray, and then for a roller, we're going to be looking for a 1/4 inch nap in a 4-inch diameter. That does a very nice job. And for those smaller areas, such as along the drain, a small foam brush will also be helpful. There's no need to spend $10 on a large brush when an 80-cent foam brush will do. We won't need this today, but a silicone sealant in white that's specifically meant for bathroom will also be needed. But more importantly for today, we will want our protection, and that will include a pair of gloves. And also we're going to be looking at a respirator mask because the fumes that are created by the epoxy are quite strong. This happens to be mask meant for household cleaners. And this comes two to a package, and this happened to be purchased at Home Depot for about $6.50. And trust me, you'll be glad you got it. Okay, let's get started. And like a lot of jobs, 80% of your success will really lie in a thorough and complete preparation. So let's just start by cleaning out the tub. And here I'm doing it with the Comet with bleach. After we have rinsed out the tub, the second step is to remove all the caulking. And this is strangely satisfying. Now, admittedly, all this sanding is a real pain in the neck, but it is a very necessary step to all this because a nice roughed up surface will create better adherence of your epoxy. And if you did your sanding right, you'll see all this white powder that you now have to clean off. Step number 4 is to take that large sponge and just start rinsing out the entire tub to get rid of all that dust. And after that, you're just going to have to wait for the tub to dry, so that may seem a little boring. Moving on to step number 5, we finally get to tape. So just grab that blue masking tape, and I usually work in small sections of about 15 inches or so, and just draw a nice clean line along the border of the tub, and don't forget along the bottom of the floor by your floor tile. And we can't forget about putting tape around our drain as well as our overflow spout. So for that, I find it helpful to just take 4-inch sections of tape and put it around the drain in a cross type pattern. And then once you have those in place, just take your nail or whatever object you have and just kind of push that into the edge of the drain, create a nice seal. And lastly, we will need to cover up the little knob that's on top. And for that as well, I'm just going to take a couple of smaller pieces and put that on in a cross type shape. So there's one piece, and the other one I'll just put on perpendicular to that. Now we still need to cut away the excess that's beyond the drain. So for that, you can just take your exacto knife or your box cutter and just carefully cut around that edge. And once you've done that, that tape should lift off very nicely and leave you with a clean edge. And then just repeat the same thing for the overflow spout. There you go. Looks great. Okay, we're ready to move on. And now it's time for paño adherente, tack cloth. All right, the tack cloth will ensure that any remaining dust or debris is removed and we are left with a nice, clean, smooth surface that's ready for the epoxy. Now, when I mix the epoxy, it's going to create some strong fumes, so I need some good ventilation. I'm going to open a window in the front of the house, as well as 2 more windows towards the back of the house. And in addition to that, I will also turn on a fan because this bathroom is in a hallway, so I'm going to need it. Oh boy, I've looked better. Well, anyway, here's your mask. And let's not forget our gloves, if I can figure out what hand goes on what. There you go, Iris. Keep going. And there's the right one. Good job. All right, I'm ready to go. Let's do it. We're almost there, guys. Hang in there. This is the part where we actually create the epoxy. So here I've taken my 2 cans and I've put them inside a cardboard box. This is actually the cardboard box in which my Amazon shipment came in. And I've added some additional paper on the bottom just to protect my flooring. Now, per the instructions, just take 2 of your stirrers and stir each one of those cans individually for about 20 seconds or so. And then once you've done that, you can actually take the stick out of the smaller can, which is your activator, and then you can pour that activator into your base. And you'll notice that as I pour the activator in, the base actually becomes very watery, very runny, very fluid. So you just want to make sure you don't stir too vigorously and have that solution swap over the side of the can and make a mess. So just keep stirring carefully. And per the instructions, about 2 minutes of stirring should get you to the proper consistency. Nap time! Well, 1/4-inch roller nap, that is. Anyway, it's finally time to do the rolling on of the epoxy. So just grab your roller, soak it into or saturate it into the paint, roll off the excess, and you're ready to paint. Now I'm going to do 1 coat here that I'm going to show. After you do 1 coat, per the instructions, you are to wait 1 hour and then apply your 2nd coat. Now I did apply a 2nd coat, but after I finished that, I actually noticed that I had a little bit of the original color still showing through. So I opted to wait another hour and then proceed to add a 3rd and a 4th coat. And 1 can was more than enough to get me to 4 coats all the way around for the tub. And that actually looked very nice. Now that will extend my drying time to several days, maybe even up to 6-7 days. But as long as you take that into consideration, all is good. Okay, here we are a day later and we can take all the tape off. And since I applied 4 coats of epoxy instead of just 2, my drying time is extended. So I waited until day 4 to apply my silicone sealant. And there you go. Here's our final result. Now you will notice a slight color mismatch between the tub and the tile, but to me, I find it rather minor. I'm actually more pleased about the fact that we have a nice, new, shiny looking finish. Okay, good luck with your project and have fun with it.